In this episode, we're going to unpack what real goal achievement looks like, not the hustle and grind version. We all know that one. We're familiar with that one. But we're going to talk about the sustainable, effortless version that keeps you growing without that burnout. Welcome, Jesse.
Thanks for having me back, Deanna.
Okay, let's talk about clarity. Jesse, you talk about this clarity as one of the first steps to effortless growth. Can you unpack what clarity really means for entrepreneurs and how it kind of impacts their decision making?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of people, the biggest misconception is clarity means I know everything and I have everything completely figured out. And so, if you're an entrepreneur that thinks that that's what clarity means, what happens is we spend a lot of time, energy, and brain power trying to think our way into clarity. The truth is,
Hmm.
clarity doesn't come from just knowing what to do, it comes from doing what you already know. And so, the
Oh, good
way
point.
the way that you gain more clarity is through movement, not just from sitting around trying to think everything perfectly.
Oh, good point. Good point. So, give me an example of a big difference there. A lot of people do confuse clarity with having everything figured out, especially our perfectionists out there. They're sitting out there thinking, man, I got to have this right before I make the first step because what if, what if, what if, what if, what if? And then you got to start thinking all those what ifs through, and you can't clarify all that, but talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so you'll see this very common in, even in myself, my first few years of business is okay, I want to build a business in X, whatever that is. And all the gurus out there are saying, I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and this. And I start accumulating as much knowledge as I possibly can, thinking that once I have enough knowledge and I will be able to take the right first step. That turns into more courses, more training, more tools, more YouTube videos, more
Been
whatever you have
there,
it.
yes. Me
Absolutely.
too, yeah. That's great. Knowledge is great. Don't want to lack knowledge, but man, it does not make a difference.
That's
It
right.
does
It's
not
right.
move the needle.
That's right. It's like reading every single book in the world about learning how to swim and never getting into the pool.
That's true. That's a good analogy. Okay, so talk to our business owners. What are some practical ways that they can gain this clarity this week, even if they feel overwhelmed or stuck?
Perfect. Yes. So we need to pick a thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to get it going. So we just need to pick a thing that they've either been putting off, something that's been keeping them stuck, something that's been preventing them from taking that next first step in momentum. Pick something. It doesn't matter if it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but we need to pick it. We need to commit to it, and we need to take small steps on it every single day. That will help us moving forward. That will help. Clarity will come as we take the step, get feedback, learn, adjust, take a break, sleep on it, and then go at it again.
Okay, so if this thing is, let's say this one thing, let's say it's a pretty big thing. So how do they chunk that down? How do they take something, if they're not thinking of it in a simple step, how do they turn that from that big thing into the simple step?
So if the step seems too big, what we need to do is in our efforts, in our energy, in our mindset, we need to say, okay, what's the smallest possible step I can take, whether that's in the amount of time, amount of energy, amount of focus. Let's boil it down to like 10 minutes or less a day. And by focusing in it and harnessing it and just taking the littlest step possible, we're going to build our capacity to be able to grow in order to take that next step. We don't need to see the whole staircase ahead of us. We just need to see the next step. It's like a bodybuilder that's, trying to build muscle. If you can't lift the 200-pound weights, you go to 100. If you can't lift the 100, go to 50. You can't lift the 50, go to 10. If you can't lift 10, do body weight. But whatever it is we got to start the process of moving and building our capacity to grow, not thinking we need everything perfect or start with that big bite.
That's true. Every successful person had started with just that one small step. True. Okay, let's talk. You recently in a post, you mentioned achieving flow and deep work as one of the keys to building an eight-figure business. Why is that so critical, especially for high-achieving entrepreneurs?
It's so important. One, because if you want to avoid burning out, that's the big thing. And what we need to understand is that flow state and deep work isn't about force. It's not about, high energy. It's about focus. It's not about pushing your way through. It's about taking that time to have a narrow focus on something and a small step on a consistent basis. And that the reason that's so important is because it's not about how much time we have in the day. It's not even about how much attention we have, but it's how focused we are in that time that's going to make the difference. And when we get into that habit, what we'll learn is we can get a lot more done in a lot less time. And when we apply that both to our business and our personal life, one, will have more freedom in our brain and energy to actually keep moving and keep pouring ahead. But it's going to prevent us from doing too much at a time and burning out.
Okay, so achieving that flow. So let's say my business owner out there that's still wearing several different hats. How do you start with a pile list of things that you know you need to be getting done, and then turn how do you take that long list and all this stuff you feels on your shoulders to turn it into a flow state, I guess, is my next question.
So how do you take the big long list and turn it into a flow state? Well, the thing is, when it comes to deep work and flow states, sometimes a lot of those things on the list might not even qualify for that deep work. It might be things that I might say, "Oh, it would be nice if I got those things done," but there's probably only a couple of things. We're going to talk about that when we get into leverage. There's probably only a few of those things that really are going to make that difference. And so if we don't know that right off the gate, we need to start getting into the habit of practicing what it means to be in that deep state and focus by just pick one. It doesn't matter if like I said, if we don't know the highest leverage task just yet, pick the one that's eating away at you the most and just say, okay, I am going to commit to X amount of time on this thing on my to-do list. And I'm going to block out everything else. I'm going to focus in on the one. I'm going to turn off my distractions in my phone and my notifications and just commit to, even if it's as simple as 10 minutes, I'm going to focus on this one thing. And very quickly, when I hone in and focus on that, I'm going to realize, okay, how many days in a row is this going to take me to actually chip away at this thing? How high in my priority should I make it? Is this important? Is this urgent? Or is this, maybe something that's less important or less urgent?
Good. Okay. What do you say to the business owner who struggles with distractions and can't seem to get that focused momentum going?
Yeah, so that's coming down to wondering. Like, we're going to talk a little bit about a high leverage habit, but it's about setting a small chunk of time to build the capacity to focus. If you're saying, "Oh, there's no way I could focus for 2 hours," okay, well then don't set that high expectation that you're going to fail and not hold yourself accountable to. How can I break it down to say, if is it just 10 minutes? Is it just five? Is it just 1 minute of setting a timer for 1 minute and diving in on, just to practice the ability and capacity to block everything out and stay on task?
I have seen whoops, sorry, I said the pattern word. I see a pattern in your coaching for sure. And your title is effortless growth, and you make it effortless. And the way you make it effortless is dialing it down to, if it is a minute, if it is one little, like we talked in the last time you were here, we talked about if you told somebody what you were going to accomplish today, they would just laugh at you because it's so simple. Like, I'm going to brush my teeth today. Yeah. Okay. Let's move into leverage and high impact habits. You mentioned leverage as one of the three critical elements. What does leverage look like in real life for business owners?
Absolutely. So leverage is not about working harder, it's about working higher. It's about working on those impact activities that are going to move the needle. If you put the same amount of effort and energy into one thing compared to another thing, if this one's going to have a higher impact and a higher result, we need to spend more time consistently prioritizing this habit. And we need to make it a habit. We need to make it automatic, just like we gave the example of brushing your teeth. Anything can be turned into something just as automatic, that where you don't do it that day, you feel a little bit off. So it's about identifying what are those tasks that are higher on the list as far as impact, instead of just focusing on grinding through the hard things.
Okay. Can you give us an example of a higher leverage habit, like for like business, that doesn't, maybe it's simple, but it produces major results over time?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of them, and it
Okay,
depends on
let's
one.
let's reel it in then. Let's make it for my builder or my contractor or business owner, my business owner who wants to be seen locally and they work locally.
Perfect. So the highest impact activity, usually when it comes to business, is bringing in the money. And so it's
Absolutely.
right. So it's what is the one thing, what is the one habit that if I did every single day would result in either more sales, more clients, or a better relationship with those clients? So it might be simple as one outreach. It might be as simple as one phone call. It might be as simple as one email or one proposal or one, but whatever it is,
Yes.
make or one follow-up. It doesn't matter what it is that takes you one step closer to closing that sale, but it's about making sure that I'm doing it every single day,
Oh my gosh.
early on in my day.
I just had a win. Okay, so I've been thinking about my business. I'm not following up like I should. I'm really failing at this. And this is where I mean, this is the biggest thing that business owners out there have follow up. Like, how great is that? You have a lead, for goodness sakes, follow up. And I'm not, I'm keep thinking that I'm going to make a follow up day of the week. No,
Mm,
I need to break it down to one, two follow ups every single day till it's a pattern, until it's good. Thank you, Jesse. I'm
you
sorry
got it.
to interrupt, but I
I
just
know
had a moment.
you did it yourself. That's awesome. I love that. Thank
No,
you so
you
much.
did it. You did it. Wonderful. That is exactly a great thing. Follow up, guys out there, girls, on your business and your leads that you have, and just chunk it down, make it a regular habit every day, one a day.
That's perfect.
Okay, so, you say, excuse me, you say, daily habits and the ones that actually move the needle. How does somebody identify which ones are moving the needle versus the ones that just keep me busy? Other
Yeah.
than, yeah, you say, the ones that are going to bring the most money, but, how do we really, identify those?
That's a great question. So at the beginning, even if you're starting a new business or you don't even have any idea what is that high leverage activity, if I'm going in with the purpose and the focus of, I don't know what it is right now, but I know I'm going to identify it. And the way I'm going to identify it is by picking something and focusing on it every single day. What will happen is the more I do it every single day, my brain will actually refine and find exactly what that highest leverage activity is if I'm going in with that purpose of I know this is important. I know I need to identify a high leverage activity. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to spend 10 minutes a day on whatever's in front of me every single day, and your brain is going to find and zigzag away to finding it.
That's great. That's great. Jesse, I'm going to say this right here on air. The last time you were here, I don't know how long ago it was, but I chunked my stuff down to the very smallest thing. And I have a ginormous weight loss that I have just experienced by trying this method. And I can't wait to put this tiny little chunk for my follow up to tell you the results from my follow up. I'm
Oh,
excited.
perfect. I love that.
Okay. Achieving goals with ease. You do make it so
Absolutely.
easy, Jesse. When it comes to achieving goals, how can entrepreneurs combine that clarity, flow, and leverage to reach their targets without burning out?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're gonna kind of bring it all and tie it all together and put all the principles together.
Wonderful.
Just like I said, when if a brain doesn't know exactly how it's gonna get there or things like that, we just need to give it a target. If I give the brain a target, I forget about how I'm gonna do it. Don't get caught up in the weeds. Stay calm, stay consistent, and do the thing every single day. It's it's a funny thing, just like how a plane is off course, 80, 90% of the time on its path, it's always course correcting and things like that. That's exactly how our brain works in achieving any goal or getting anything done. But it has to be done with a target in mind on a daily basis, and it has to be done with consistency because the brain won't know what to focus on if there is no focus, or I focused on it once but did not within a waking time period realign or course correct or tell it where the target is. The clinical studies have shown that once every 24 hours or once a waking period is what is enough for the brain if you give it a target every single waking period to consistently align and find that clarity by taking action, by getting into flow, by staying focused, and by identifying, okay, what's actually going to make a difference. That all comes together when I stay committed and consistent on one target. Doesn't matter how I'm doing it, consistently every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a morning mindset that I give to my contractors that does prepare your mind, and research shows that it's good to click back in. And I'm sure with you have your at 2 o'clock every day, you're on there and you go live on your Facebook page for everybody to get focused and get clarity. And then you have they can sign up to get on your email list for your clarity. What is that called again?
Yeah, there's a many different names for it, but it's a plan. It's a one-page planner. You can call it
There you
clarity
go.
or
Okay.
whatever you call it. But yeah, yep.
Okay. So, what's one simple action someone can take today to move closer to their next goal?
Well, that's a perfect question. So in your case, you said, one follow-up a day. And so one is just identifying that thing. But two, what we got to make sure is it's not about knowing what to do, but it's doing what we know. So there's a couple different apps that I use. There's a reminder app. There's just a good old-fashioned paper and pen, or a notes app, or a calendar app. But I need to set a repeating daily reminder that must get checked off. And if I miss 2 days in a row where I'm not checking off that daily reminder, I either need to make it smaller, easier, or more enjoyable. It's really important not to miss 2 days in a row. So the next step really is find your favorite app. I use an app called TickTick. It's just a free reminder app. And I put in a daily repeating reminder of 1x a day. And I have it spread across my whole life and business, whether that's with my relationship with my wife, with my son, with reading books, personal development, my health and fitness goals. I have a one a day for every single thing that I do. And I just put it. So for you, it might be one follow up and then set it as a repeating daily reminder, but make sure you're checking it off. And if you're not checking it off, then you need to make it even easier. Maybe it's not one follow up, but maybe it's one email or one, or like make it easier or more enjoyable. Or if I'm not able to check it off, then one follow up, but while I'm drinking my morning coffee or while I'm going for a walk or while I'm listening to my favorite song, make it as enjoyable as possible to make sure that we're combining it to make sure we're sticking to it.
That's good. Combined it with another activity that you could do along with it. That's a good idea if you're not doing it. But yeah, we need to, we don't need to, with those daily reminders, within the week, we can say, hey, I'm not doing this. If you don't do those little reminders, a month later, you can be like, man, I'm not doing that, and then it's way out of hand, right?
That's right.
Okay. So, collaboration and visibility. Jesse, we're going to send you a guest promo packet after this episode. It includes graphics, captions, reels, easy things for you to post and share your message. Will you help us get this conversation out to more entrepreneurs who need to hear this?
Absolutely.
Good. And also, if you know any business owners, you work with a lot of business owners who might be struggling to stand out or attract clients in a crowded market, I'd love for you to introduce us. My team at D&B Business Systems helps them build visibility and systems that can drive consistent growth, kind of like your one small step method, but for marketing.
I love that.
Okay, let's talk about your inner circle, your new inner circle. What is it and who is it designed for?
Perfect. It is designed for the entrepreneur that is breaking out of stagnation and is chomping at the bit for more momentum. What the Inner Circle consists of is 2 live weekly group coaching calls. One call called Flow States, where we talk about mindset and focus, and another call called Levers and Automations, where we focus on the strategy and the systems and putting everything together as one package. And as far as your business and life is concerned, not only to get more done in less time, but making sure we're doing the right things done in less time in our life and business. That includes personalized coaching and hot seats, private group access for accountability and support between calls, as well as access to all the recordings and resources. And as well, the biggest thing is a community of high performers, high achievers that are also, desiring to get more momentum, and we can all help each other, learn from each other, and build and grow.
That's wonderful. Okay, so you've got all kind of businesses in here. How can you still have that personal touch? What if one of my listeners is saying, well, maybe there's not a business like mine in there. Maybe it doesn't pertain to my business and my life. How can you address that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I like to do is I focus on the entrepreneur itself. We're talking about the inner work, the mindset, the focus, the strategies and systems on a personal level to get success. And it doesn't matter if you're a builder or if you're a solopreneur or if you have a team or anything like that. These are principles for knowing what to do and getting it done, which applies to any success. It doesn't matter what kind of business you are.
That's true. Good. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about you kind of ran through all of that you're going to get so quick. What's this experience like once they join? What makes this different from traditional coaching and productivity programs?
What makes it different from traditional coaching and productivity programs is really the expertise and just the community of who is all together. We're talking about high performers who are 6, 7, 8-figure business owners that are coming together to, help each other, uplift each other, and building those connections and those teams of people all trying to get and still all value the same things, all have a high value on the things that really matter and really move the needle as far as our mindset, as far as our focus, as far as the things that really move the needle and grow our business and life. And so it's really the people that you're surrounded with is what really makes a difference.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. We have to be around like-minded people for sure. And it does make the difference. And when you see other people doing it, I had a guest the other day that, we were talking about how to, he was transitioning and he had transitioned from what they call in our trade is off the tool. And what that is hiring people to come in to actually take over the tool so that you can now work, a little bit more on your business instead of in your business. We've all heard that. And what he said was, we all think that, nobody will do this business like I do. But he said, guess what? The people all across the entire country from one end to the other are doing exactly what you're doing. You ain't so special. You are, but you're not. We just have to find somebody that, you can train, you can get qualified, and that has the same standards and culture as you do. That way you feel a little bit more like they can do it.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, so they need to work within your program. They need to work on themselves and get ready to make those transitions to grow their business. If they're stagnant in their business and stuff, this would be great. This is that shove off the side of the rock cliff to get it done, right?
That's right. That's right.
Except for not alone. Jesse will hold your hand. Okay, so we talked about, being around like-minded people. How does that actually accelerate their growth?
Well, one, when you're learning with other people, you can learn how they're learning as well. Everyone takes in information and understands things differently through their own frame of experience and reference. And so being able to see people from a different perspective or a different experience, take that same information and see how they apply it can also be very helpful. Like, oh, I saw how that he applied that. Maybe that's a good way that I can apply it as well. Because there's one thing about the information, but it's another thing of how did I interpret it and how did I apply it and what did that mean for my own personal life?
Yeah, and people are sharing their stories with all these, putting these things to life. And sometimes we'll think, that doesn't pertain to me, but there are a lot of ways that being with like-minded people that they can spark that in your mind. Hey, I could adjust this a little this way to make this work for me and maybe have the same outcome or resembling outcome.
That's right. That's right.
Great. Okay, Jesse, what one other thing you want our listeners to know today or to improve their day?
Okay. Do you mind if I walk you through something real quick and see if
Absolutely.
something
Let's
can
do it.
resonate? Okay. Okay. First question. I got a couple of questions for you. What would you say has been your biggest struggle with building momentum lately?
I think what I mentioned earlier, trying to have all the hats, having my calendar full, but yet having to work on fulfillment in my business. So,
Perfect.
producing the product, producing the results, because I feel if my clients don't get results, then I don't get results. I take it very personally. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that one, I guess.
Perfect. When it comes to that, is there anything you've particularly been stuck on lately?
I'm stuck with feeling like I'm producing. I feel stuck like I'm really accomplishing anything. I feel like I'm just rolling on a hamster wheel and I don't feel like anything's getting kind of,
Moving.
now I do have monthly services that I offer my clients. So it seems like just when I get the hamster's wheel to slow down, it's time to start again because next month's items are need taken care of.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So when it comes to all those things, what would you say is the one thing that's really that you wish you could see that those produce results? That one thing that you're really reaching for?
What would really move the needle is I have launched my AI visibility scorecard, where it helps clients find their score to see how visible they are. Because, and I know I sound like a broken record already, but AI has changed the way they're found locally and their businesses are found locally. And I have developed a scorecard where they take the score, answer a few questions, takes a few seconds free, and they get results, and the results are categorized. So in these categories, they know what categories to focus on. It gives them clarity and focus, so they know what to fix and what to improve. And so I'd really like to produce that. And then, if they want, it's not a have to, but if they'd like, they can get on a strategy call with me. And then with this strategy call, I can break it down for them. We can talk about it and we can talk about how they fix it. Every business audit that I do, I want them to go away with value. It doesn't have to be about any purchase. I want to talk about their business. I want them to go away with things action steps that they can take right away on their own. And then let them also know that if they want some help with it, then, I can help them with that.
Perfect. So
You probably didn't expect that
that's a
kind of
lot.
answer. That's a long answer, but anyway, that's
So
where I need people to go.
perfect. So what would you be say is like the least amount of either strategy calls or getting that AI scorecard that you think you could do in front of your ideal client every single day without burning out?
I think I could try to post about it, try to let them know about it every day without burning out.
Perfect. Is there something you could commit to like one of a day for that consistently?
I could probably consistently commit to some little reel or some little live comment about it or something every day. Not live every day. I've done that twice. I don't know how you do that every day. Just trying to figure out the tech now. I might have you help me with that here in a little bit. But anyway, oh, by the way, my contractors out there, go live. Oh my gosh, Facebook will start they love the algorithm of go live and they start sending it to everybody. So if you're on the job site and you want to go live, just, screwing a couple screws in, nailing down a few boards, or showing your finished product, go live. It helps. But anyway, not go live, but post, like maybe just do a little reel of me talking about my scorecard and how it'll help their business and stuff.
Perfect. All right. Well, then put either a reminder in your phone or your calendar or a note or something like that. Say, I must do one of that every single day.
Okay. I love it.
Perfect.
Jesse, thank you again for coming back to the Builder's Edge. I love how you break down clarity, or you broke down today the clarity, the flow, and the leverage. It's a powerful reminder that growth doesn't just have to be hard, it just has to be focused. For our listeners, here's your action steps this week. I'm going to put you to work. We don't have this episode without it making a difference. Get clear on your one goal that really matters. Block off 1 hour for deep focus on it. It can, maybe it's an hour a week. Maybe, like Jesse says, it can be 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Break it down to what you can do and have focused work on it. And then find one high leverage action that you can move you closer to your goal, and just do it. Jesse, every time you're here, you bring such clarity and something most entrepreneurs quietly struggle with, not just starting, but staying the course. I love how your work reminds us that success doesn't have to come from that stress or constant pressure. It can come from a calm, consistent action. For those listening, if you've been feeling stuck between where you are and where you could be, definitely check out Jesse's Inner Circle program. Jesse, tell our listeners how they can join.
Perfect. So first of all, if you haven't downloaded my one-page planner, go to my website to download that for sure. That'll join my email list, and then I'll shoot you an email. There's a qualification process for the Inner Circle, because I found that the best way to get success for people comes down to actually who's a part of the Inner Circle. So if you're interested in seeing if you qualify or apply, make sure you go to effortlessgrowth.co, download my planner, and I'll shoot your email about the qualification process.
Okay, a little slower.
Effortlessgrowth.co.
Effortlessgrowth.co. Great. Thank you again for sharing your wisdom. It's great. And to everyone listening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. I'll see you next time on The Builder's Edge. As always.